Hey man, how's it going?
All right, everyone. Thank you for your patience, but it's worth the wait. So we've got Rafael here, who's the founder of Share It Studio, and he's going to be talking about optimizing visual content on your Amazon listing. And Rafael and his team do amazing work over at Share It Studio. We've known them for a long time. They've been using PickFu for a long time.
Yes.
We even did this competition. What was that? Over a year ago, called the Amazing Listing, where there's a YouTube video. We'll pop the link in somewhere during the presentation. But they did amazing work for a Kevin King hand sanitizer, where they were optimizing some of the imagery using PickFu. So definitely check that out when you have a chance. But I'll let Rafael introduce himself and hop into the presentation. If you've got any questions, feel free to pop it into the chat, or we will also do some at the end.
Please. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it, Justin. So my name is Rafael. I'm the founder of Share Studio. At Share Studio, we focus primarily on creating content, anything that's visual, front end. And the way we do it is just by analyzing data. We're very much data focused, data driven. This is what we eat, sleep, and breathe. It's data. So apart from that, that's how we create the content, and that's why the content is effective, and it's been effective, and hopefully it'll keep being effective for the rest of the time we work. If you have any questions, please let me know. I'm a filmmaker. I started my first music video in 2009, and in 2012 I started doing marketing, and I've been doing it since then. And Show Studio started working exclusively with Amazon since 2018. Prior to that, I was doing my own thing. I was working for Nickelodeon. I was doing CNN. I was doing a bunch of cool stuff in the industry. Should we get started? Because we just lost 15 minutes.
Go for it. Let's hop into it.
All right, cool. All right, so it's my first time using Demio, I'll be honest. I'll put on the link, not this.
Yeah, you can. The slides are already loaded, so you can just. Yeah, there you go.
Okay, delete. How can I remove? There's like a little pop up. Can I just delete this feature action? Okay. All right, cool. So how do we make actual content? It's based off of data, right? So data is what creates the actual content. We are just creatives that see the data, and we're like, okay, well, anybody can actually do this. See the data and they're like, okay, how can we connect with this persona? So we need to know the buyer persona, right? Is this buyer persona married? Does it have kids? What is the product they are selling? All these things are very, very important so we can trigger their emotions, because people buy off emotions, right? If you remember in the 80s, all those cool car commercials with like the hot girls and all that, they were just trying to, trigger that emotion on the buyer. Like, hey, if you buy this car, you're going to get this. Or in the 40s and during the World War too, that you had the sign with a woman going like this. That's because all the men were at war, or most of them were at war, so they needed more workforce. So they had to like trigger the woman's emotions, like, "Hey, you're equal." Because remember, at that time, there was like women's right were like super like non-existent almost, right? So they were trying to make that happen, and that you can go back in time and you can see like maybe it wasn't the word marketing, but it was marketing during the Roman times as well. So all the way from there to here, it's all about trigger emotions. That's what we want, and that's what we have to do. That's what we do at Share Studio. Okay, next slide. Let's see. So where do we start? Obviously, if we're selling Amazon, Amazon is a search engine optimization, it's a search engine. So we have to see what keywords you want to rank for, right? So maybe you're just starting, or you already have a product that is established, and you want to get those keywords to connect with those keywords. So if it's a minimalistic wallet, like the example I'm going to show you in a little bit, you have to obviously create data that supports that. But on top of that, it's very interesting. You'll see in a bit. When that happens, maybe your buyer is not the buyer you thought. I'll show you in a little bit. So again, demographics, behavior analysis, what do people want? What are they doing? What are they looking for? All these things are very, very important on Amazon, off of Amazon as well. Maybe trends are coming up. Maybe use Google Trends. Just get as much data as you can to be able to create that effective content. Obviously, if you have established brand and you have brand registry, look at your brand analytics, very important. The FAQs extremely important, and the 3-star reviews are for me are the best. Even the 2 stars, not just yours, your competitions as well, or not your like, oh, I want to be like this guy who sells a lot, but also that new competition that's taking away market share. The new ones that are like coming up, you're like, hey, this guy's getting a lot of sales and just started. What is he doing? Let's see what questions he's answering. Let's see what he's those new things to see how you can re-engineer the process. If anybody has any questions, I see the chat right here, so please feel free to ask anything. I'll be more than happy to answer all those questions. Okay, so again, you want to. Oh, there's no way we can play this video. So this is a video, very cool, from our friends of Data Dive, and Mr. Young, Brendan Young, was saying you have to create content that keeps them engaging, that maximizes your click-through rate, conversions, and performance. So as you know, Amazon has a lot of tools that you basically is telling you, hey, use these tools to give a better buying experience to the buyer. Because remember, these buyers, they're not your customers per se, unless you're Apple or a big brand, or they go into Amazon just to look for you. But if they're looking for a keyword, I don't know, baby nightlight, right? You're just one vendor out of many. So it's not your client per se, it's Amazon's client. So Amazon, because there's so many other marketplaces coming up, Amazon, Walmart, for example, right? Then you got Target, and you got a bunch of others, eBay, and so on and so forth. Amazon wants to give them the best buying experience, because that's what's going to make them come back to Amazon time over time again and be loyal to the platform. Okay. Obviously, they want to make money. Everybody wants to make money. So they want to give their customer the best experience possible. So good content is going to help you preserve the honeymoon stage or optimize the honeymoon stage. The honeymoon stage, from my perception, is it's not Amazon helping you. It's actually Amazon putting you to a test, putting your listing to a test. So if some of you don't know what the honeymoon phase is, it's just basically when you launch your listing, Amazon artificially ranks you better and just puts you out there more to see if your listing is getting a lot of clicks. Hero images or main images are very important to drive those clicks, right? Because if you might have the best PPC, but if you're not really getting the clicks, it's not really helping. So then are people spending a lot of time on your listing? Are they spending less time on your listing? Are they clicking to the cart? Are they actually checking out? Are you answering all these questions that they might have? So the watch time of the videos is very important. The time they spend on your listing is very important as well. All these things the A9 algorithm is taking into consideration. Let me just keep going so we don't take that long. So what your listing needs to be as optimized as possible. Obviously, you want to have the best hero image. So for example, this is a case study that we did with a client of ours. This is the hero image that we created, and this is the hero image that the competition created for them. We get a lot of clients that come to us and they're like, hey, I already worked with this agency, but it was something really good, and then something happened, and my sales just tanked. Yes, that's the honeymoon phase, and Amazon realizing that you're not doing a very good job. And then they'll just take that away from you, and then you have to optimize your listing. But what if you would have started right off the bat with a grand slam, right? The coach would have been amazed, right? So maybe you're giving a little heads here and there, but what you want to be doing is giving this grand slam. So for example, for this image specifically, this is a baby nightlight, and it changes colors, and the keywords for this listing was baby nightlight, nursing nightlight, anything that's triggering for babies or nursing. So who's the buyer and the user? The mom with the baby. So this image, if I could zoom in, but I can't. This image. This hand is a male hand, and this male hand is very hairy actually right here. It has very long nails, a bit of the long nails. And if you see the actual hand gesture or the body language is very stiff. So you have to take into consideration, if it's a mom, it's a very intimate process, right? Where she's feeding her baby, or she's putting her baby to sleep, or she's doing something with her baby. Why would you? Is she really going to respond to something that's more like, hey, take this, instead of this one that's more like, hey, maybe this can help you? Again, details are so important. That's why you should be looking at content as one of the key assets, because again, you can be spending thousands of dollars PPC. Doesn't mean that You might even not get the clicks, and if you get the clicks, maybe you're not even getting the right conversions because you're not really telling the story right. You have to tell the story right. So in filmmaking, we use the color green as something negative. That's something like it makes you sick. If you see the emoji from on WhatsApp, the barfing emoji, it's green. So when you see in movies scenes that are a little bit green, it's because it's something bad's gonna happen. So green is actually not the best color to implement this at this moment, unless it's something organic or something healthy or something nature-wise. But green in other cases is a negative. Warmth is a more welcoming color. But on top of that, we're answering as many questions as we can, right? So right here, you can see that it's actually dimming to the right of the nightlight. It's actually a dimmable light, and we tell them like, hey, if you don't like the color yellow, you can actually change the color. Okay, all these things are things that you can, test the PickFu. Rocco's saying hi. All these things are things that you can test through PickFu. So it's very important. Say hi, Rocco. Oh, he wants to play. Look at you guys. He wants to play. I'm working, little man. I'll play with you later. So these are things that you want to test out through PickFu. Maybe you use this color yellow, and then you can use another color. Maybe it's a little bit pinkish, or maybe it's yellow, greenish, like this one, and see what happens. But at the end of the day, this one, which is the one that got the most amount of votes, and this is actually got way more clicks than this one. Again, a lot of things go into the details. Be as more specific as possible. Understand your buyer so you can trigger their emotions. This is a female hand. It has polish, pink polish, light. Is the hand gesture is more relaxed. You want things that connect with them. This will connect to better, and she saw an increase in click-through rates and sales as well. And the other thing is, obviously, you want to use props. I understand sometimes you can use props on main images. That's why you should create. What we do at Show Studio is we don't create just one. We do this with all of our clients. That's why we love PickFu so much. We create at least. Will we get a copy of this? I might not be here for the end of the. Yes, if not, you can email me at hello@ShareStudio, and I'll send it over to you, Lee. So yeah, I'm sorry you can't stay. I'm sorry I was late, guys. And maybe the hero image, it's like it's a little bit biased. Sometimes you can use even models in the hero image. Other times you can't. But either way, test it out. Do A/B testing. See what works best. For this client, we actually have we used different kind. Let me see if I can show you really quick for the images. So for this client, as you can see, we did all these tests, and this is the one that got first place. But depending on the seasonality, actually changes. So right now, this listing has the one that came second, which is option A, as one of the main images for some of the actual child aces. This is why you have to use PickFu to understand what sells before it sells. If you can, I'm assuming it's not going to get any easier. That's for sure. It's going to be even more expensive to even launch a business, to even have your brand out there. Now you have to have, outside traffic coming in. Like there's so many things coming up. Amazon's actually becoming more social. They have the follow button, they have Amazon Post, they have all these things. So why not use the tools that you have at hand to actually, stand out from the competition? I know this is like a very cliche thing to say, stand out from your competition, but in reality, that's what you want to do. You do want to stand out from your competition. So for main images, for me, are the most important images, because without that image, you're not even gonna get the click. If you don't get the click, nothing, like they won't see your infographics, they won't see your lifestyle, they won't see your video, A+, they won't see anything else. So that's why it's so important. Yes, correct. Buying gifts for the holidays. Yes, correct. All right, let's go back to the infographics. The infographics, we like to keep it as simple as possible and to show it in use. So for Olga's in the to my left, the baby nightlight, and Dom is to the right. Dom is the buyer. It's the brand owner, and Olga's the brand owner to the baby nightlight. It's a very simple product. All this you want, everything that you want. Sorry, Slack is killing me here. So everything that you want is to try to show try to reflect or try to make them understand with less attention as possible because of social media now. People like when they're on TikTok, most like everybody uses TikTok or Instagram, right? Or Facebook at least. They're just scrolling. They don't even take the time at least 10 seconds to see a video. If they don't like the first 2-3 seconds of the video, they'll skip it. The exact same thing happens with images. If they don't understand the image really fast, they'll just skip through it. So dependent on the item, of course, if it's a product that costs $2,000-$3,000, they're gonna read it. But if it's something like this, which is 20, 30, 40, 50 bucks, and something kind of easy to use, you want them to understand as fast as possible that, listen, this is easy to use. You can, battery powerful, it's easy to install and use, like something quick. You see in the left, the one that has the purple, so much text. Nobody's gonna read that. They're not gonna read it. So when clients do things like that, it's just like when Amazon sellers do things like that, it's just like they're just trying to get out of the way. You know, when you went to school and like homework, I don't know, math wasn't my strongest, I'm more artistic, as you can see. And you just want to get it over with and just like, yeah, whatever. It's like 1 + 1 = 2, okay, bye. This is what they're doing. They're just like, okay, they understand how to source the product. They understand how to make it differentiate the product. They understand how to do all these things. But when it comes down to executing, it's not the best quality. It's because it's not their forte, and it's okay. It's okay. That's why you have to hire people like me or all the companies as well, whatever you want. But at the end of the day, you want to make content that's easy to understand. And in the second one, the minimalistic wallet, you want to show it in use. You know, like instead of saying like, hey, it's weighs less, put it in your front pocket. You'll understand that it's easier to hold. It's easier to move around. It's easier to work with, you know. Any questions, guys, please do ask. I'll be more than happy to answer them. And the lifestyles. Obviously, lifestyles for me are the most important apart from hero images because they show you, they connect with the product. They humanize the product. And at the same time, they answer a lot of questions and they make you feel welcome. Like, hey, this product's safe to use. Water bottle, right? Make them drink the water bottle. So let's go to the right side where it says where's the minimalistic wallet. This is actually a very interesting listing. The client came to us. He was selling. He had like 2,000 reviews. Very good, 4.6 at that time, if I don't miscall. And he was like, hey guys, I'm losing market share. What should I be doing? We're like, okay, well, let's look at your listing. Let's see what's going on. So we found out that actually 48.9% of 48.7% of the buyers were female. So the main keywords are minimalistic men wallet. So you're telling me that it's a men's wallet, but almost 50% of the buyers are female buyers. What is that telling you? That's telling you that most likely they're buying it for the better half. So you keep looking at the data. 85% of the buyers are married. What does that mean? That means that most likely that 50% of female are probably married and they're buying it for the better half, and only 15% are single. Most likely that out of that 15%, let's say 90% are men. So we started triggering like, okay, if they're looking for this, what should we be doing? All right, they're buying it. They're not buying it to use it themselves. They're buying to use it for their male counterpart, right? For their partner. So let's create content more like connection, more like, hey, the box is easy to gift if you want to give it to somebody. And at the same time, it's got to look good. So we start creating content more geared towards a couple. And that saw a lot of increase. Let me see, I'll show you the stats later on. So that's the idea. Creating content that gets clicks, creating content that leaves you wanting more, creating content that makes an emotional connection. Emotions is very important. Emotions is what makes us get up, get out of bed in the morning, right? Like share a studio. I love what I do. I come to work and I literally love what I do. That's an emotion. Same as you. You're selling on Amazon most likely because A, you want to quit your 9 to 5. Why? Because you're not happy. Happiness, right? You want to be happy. Emotion. Everything we do in life is based on emotions. You want to trigger your buyers through emotions. Okay. All right. Let's keep going. Any questions? Please let me know. Again, we use PickFu for everything. What we do for our clients is that once we run the PickFu test, we actually give them all this. As you know, PickFu gives you a lot of data, right? So once you have the feedback, sometimes what we do is we run. We have a recent client that we ran a test for her, and she has a jewelry box. I'm just gonna say jewelry box, so she didn't want me to use her exact product. She has a jewelry box, and we took 5 images with 5 main images. One was just the product, one was the product with the box. The other one was the product with a pop-up inside of the packaging, showing what can fit inside of the jewelry box. The other one was the jewelry box open, and the other one and the jewelry box closed, or a collage. And the other one was a jewelry box, just the jewelry box open, if I'm not mistaken. And what we found out is that the ones that got first and second were the ones that had to show the inside of the jewelry box. What does that mean? That means that people don't even really care about the packaging. They don't care about how the box looks. They care about how the box looks, but they equally care about what fits inside the jewelry box. So all these things we discarded. So when we saw that, we're like, hey, Kim, my name is Kimberly. Kim, we believe that people want to see more of what's inside, but these 2 images are not the best. So we recreated some main images and reran the test with the top 2 that came last with the new 3 that we made. And obviously these were we actually created with thinking of like, okay, now let's show what's inside. These are the ones that got first and second one. So we give this to our clients, and they run A/B tests on their own through Amazon, through the Amazon platform. We give the management of the PickFu test, because obviously reading all these feedbacks takes time, and understanding and then coming up with the ideas. It's very time consuming, but it gets the job done, which is very, very nice. Again, depending on the product, you can actually, I bet there's tons of tutorials out there, but you can actually customize the audience for PickFu. If you didn't know, you should definitely do it as well. It costs a little bit more, but it's obviously, if you're selling to, if it's a product that's gonna be used by a female audience, like I would do it for the female audience first, see what happens if it's the first time, and then do something else, Okay, so the feedback, we talked about this. This is this is the results for Dom's wallet. Okay, so let me show you something really quick. It's the same one. Okay, so we couldn't compare. He reached out to us, and he reached out to us in the month of November of 2021. So whatever we did, obviously December was going to sell even more than November. So we didn't want to compare December to November. So what we did is we compared December of 2021 to December of 2020. December of 2020, if you don't remember, we were at the height of COVID. So everybody was inside, and everybody was buying through Amazon, right? So, spoiler alert. So what we did is we compared December of 2021 with December of 2020, because that was the true or the real way to show that what we did is effective. Okay, that was the most important thing, to show that what we're doing is effective. So he reached out to us. As you can see, the green line is when he reached out to us in November of that year, of October and August, month 10th. And as you can see, his sales compared to last year, which is red is 2020, they were like super down. So Dom reached out to us like, hey guys, last year I was selling a lot. This year my sales are just tanking. Like, what should I do? We redid it, and we executed, and we posted, if I don't miscall, between November 13 and November 8. Yeah, November 3rd and 8th. And as you can see, the jump is dramatically. And that's just because of the content. That's it. He didn't change anything else. He just changed the content, because his PPC was good. His reviews were great. Everything was great. What was missing, his product is good as well. What was missing is the content that connects to the viewer, to the buyer. Okay. So he was selling, his sales were tanking that year. He came to us like, guys, I need help. We redid it. And you can see the red line is height of the COVID, and the green line is Q4 of 2021, right? So Amazon from 2019 to 2020, Q4 comparison, grew 44 point something %. And from 2020 to 2021, grew only 9 plus something %. So he could expect that sales were going to be less. I mean, it's logical. Amazon's way better one year than the other. Obviously, that's going to affect the overall market. But his sessions increased drastically, and his sales increased as well, even better than when it was at the COVID height. And this is not because we're like super geniuses or whatever. It's just obviously we have experience. We've been doing this for quite a while. All my team specialized in marketing and content, and that's the results. So comparison to Q's, he saw a 45% increase in sales and 55% in traffic. Again, this is just looking at the data, coming up with creative ideas. Everybody has a camera, but it's not the same thing. Michael Bay shooting a movie than me shooting a movie, right? Even though it's the same equipment, and they can give me the exact same budget, and I bet he's gonna do something way better. If you don't know who Michael Bay is, he is the director of Transformers, Bad Boys, and a bunch of other movies. Love that guy. So yeah, what do you need as well to boost your listing is creating product videos. Obviously, the better you showcase. Okay, so there's a key thing that I want you to get out of this is, bye Janine, I hope you're well. If you're leaving, if not, hopefully you get the slides. A key thing is that you should be doing at least 2 videos, okay? 2 videos. One is for the listing and one is for the sponsor ads video, okay? Why they should be different is because the buyer is at a different stage. When they're looking for something, they're at an awareness stage. They just want to see something that catches your attention. When you look for something and the video appears, this is a video that the main thing they have to do is make them go like, huh, that's what you want. Literally that, what? Make them stop scrolling down, because don't see a bunch of things. Remember, their attention span is like 2 seconds. So you want something that makes them click. For the going back to the actual competition we did with PickFu for Kevin King, it was a germ shark. It was a hand sanitizer, and the video. What we did is like the first thing that we put, the first frame that you see is a large green germ, right? Bacteria. So you're telling me like if you're scrolling through Amazon's main page, which is white background, and there's some videos that have actually a white, the first frame is just a white screen, you're like, that's not going to really call the attention. The first thing you see is a green germ in that video, and then a bunch of other images that tell you that the brain actually processes. You don't actually know it, but the brain is processing all that information, and that makes you really get the click. That's why the video got won. And then the product videos is just selling the product, finishing selling the product. If the buyer is already watching that video, it's because they're most likely looking for something else or about to buy the product and put it in the cart. Very, very important to have that distinction between those 2 videos, okay? And as well, obviously we all need A+ content. A+ content is super important. A key feature, you can actually test A+ content in PickFu as well. You can actually test your images in for our for clients who wants to invest in this. What we do, we actually test the A+ content modules against each other. It takes a lot more time, obviously, because you're going back and forth, but this helps you tremendously, guys, tremendously. If your listing is making at least, let's say 20K a month, like definitely do it. This is something that can improve your sales by 30, 40, even if it's 5%, it's better than staying at where you are, right? So definitely invest the time and energy into it. If you don't have the time and energy because you're trying to run a business and trying to run your business, again, hire somebody else that does it for you, but make sure they're doing it the effective way. One thing that I want you to take out from this is that do not use the same exact image in the A+ that you used in your listing. Why? Human brain. If you can remember what you did Wednesday last week, and you can remember specifically and perfectly everything you did from the moment you got up to when you went to sleep, I'm really amazed. That's really good. But 90%, 95% of humans can't. And what the brain does is just processes the information, takes in what it wants, and discards the rest. So when the brain is watching, seeing a bunch of photos, they like the photos, and they goes to the A plus, and the brain sees a photo that's either very similar or the exact same photo that it saw before. The brain's gonna say, "Oh, I already saw this. I don't really need to pay attention to this." So you want to create custom photos for everything. That's what we do at Shirts. We create custom content for every specific piece of the puzzle, I would say. Um, Again, you got Black Friday coming up, you got Halloween, you got Cyber Monday, Thanksgiving, Christmas. Connect with the intentions, connect with the seasonality. If you ever bought something at Valentine's, right, you'll see all those red things and like maybe couples and things like that. What are they doing? They're just appealing to your emotions. So for this client, for Awesome, we did some little Christmas shots, like the Christmas tree with the box, because most likely it's got to be given as a gift. So customize it to the season. It's just going to cost maybe, I don't know, $500 more, but it's worth it. It's really worth it. You're going to see a increase in sales, which is what you want at the end of the day, right? So holiday season, why you should be optimizing for Q4. If you didn't know these stats, they're very straightforward. There's just way more attention online. People are just spending a bunch of money. If you want me to put it plain and simple, what are you going to do to put your product against the competition and make them invest that hard-earned money on your product? Are you going to make them feel better? Are you going to make them feel worse? Are you going to make them understand that this is one of the key puzzles that they're missing in their life, and this is going to help them? For example, a supplement, right? Remember that January gym subscription goes up like 50%. So if you're in supplements, if you're in dietary supplements, this is the perfect time for New Year's resolution. Connect with that. Like maybe put a subject like, "Hey, for your New Year's resolution, we're gonna give you 2 for 1 because we really want to help you. We really want to help you achieve those goals this year." Something like that. Emotions. Everything's emotions. You guys should be appealing to the emotions, just like you do with your partner. Do it with your customers. And these are just stats. Obviously, if you're an experienced seller, you've seen this already. And cool thing, we're actually doing a giveaway. So if you can scan this code. We're doing the whole thing. It's sponsored by PickFu as well. We're doing all the tests through PickFu, and we're doing it's $10,000 worth of content. Means that we're going to do the whole listing for you. From the images to the A plus, the video, title, bullet points optimization. My friend Sumner is going to be doing an Amazon consultation as well. So if you guys want to sign up, you're more than welcome to do it. And thanks for watching. If you want to speak to me one-on-one, please schedule a call. I'm more than happy to give you a complimentary consultation for free, just because you saw it here with my friends at PickFu.
Awesome. Thanks, Rafael.
My man.
So if there's any questions, definitely pop them in the chat. But yeah, some really interesting points there. I mean, I love the idea of how the buyer persona does change seasonally, right? I don't think that's something that most people think about or even do that analysis.
100%. It's very, very, very important to understand the buyer persona. Buyer persona it's everything, like really, because the person who's buying this is a person. It's a human, right? That's the one who's spending the money, a human. And that's the person who's going to an office, working 9 to 5, most likely, and they're like, "Oh my God, I just made $15, $20, $30 an hour, and this product is $30. So that means that I'm exchanging 1 hour of my life that I'm never going to get back for this product. What are you going to do to connect those two?" Right? Super important. Thank you, Murray. Any questions, guys?
There's one here. How many times would you recommend to optimize the visual content of my listing in a year? Good question.
Ooh, it's a great one. I would say do it seasonal. It depends on your product, but for example, if Valentine's is a very, very important season for you, like definitely do Valentine's. Come on. If Christmas is a very important season for you, Christmas. If it's a summer season product, then you should be doing already something for summer, obviously, and you should be considering expanding your brand to something winter related. But I would say 3, 2, depending on how much cash flow you have and how much cash this business is bringing you, but at least 1. And that's because of your you shouldn't be having your brand registry. I can't stress it enough. Like, this is something that you should have. Like, you need to have it. Amazon is extremely competitive. There's I'm actually got invited to Mexico because now a lot of to speak in Mexico, because a lot of Latin Americans are starting to sell on Amazon. So now you got Europeans, Asians, Latin Americans also in the US market. So like, okay, oh my God, the whole world is here. So you're not competing only in the US, you're competing against the whole world, basically. So yeah, at least twice, you should have at least once, minimum once, you should have brand registry. So that gives you data. And you can, and throughout the year, the data is going to change. Maybe, a larger percentage of females start buying your product. Definitely try triggering that.
Do you have a sense of how much lead time before certain holidays? Like, if it's Valentine's, like you should have it up 3 weeks before, something like that, right?
So depending on your brand, I would, if you have at least 4 listings, I would do a month through Amazon Post. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So Amazon Post, a lot of people are not paying attention to it. They feel like it's just like, oh my God, I'm just gonna spend more money on this. That this is not worth it. Through Dom, we did a case study with Dom. He got more than 60,000 unique clicks through Amazon Post. 60,000. Wow. Like, if you convert 10% of the 60,000, that's 6,000. What?
Awesome.
You see
all right. Scott's question, yeah. Could you talk more about the difference in focus between a sponsored video and a product video?
Yeah, of course, Scott. Thank you so much for that answer. Video is my passion. I just made a little blog. Actually, you should go to check it out on my personal Instagram. It's super cool. Went to the mountains. I had a little retreat with myself because the Q4 party was just too much from Carmen. So I need to go to the mountains. Guys, sponsor ads video and product video. Sponsor ads video is a video that it's the only video that's going to be displayed in the search result. Sometimes you have a video on the bottom as well, but most likely you have just one video, right? And that video is, you need that video to just say, like, make them stop. When you're scrolling through Instagram and you see something that makes you stop, and there's some other times you're just going down that rabbit hole and you're just boom, 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 boom. But there's this video that makes you stop. Think of that video. If you're in your customer's shoes, what is it gonna make them stop? What is it gonna make them say, like, oh, if it's a hand sanitizer, what's the biggest problem for a hand sanitizer? Sanitize their hands. What's making their hands dirty? Germs. So give that. Make them, like, it has to be provocative, or it could be something crazy. Maybe if you're selling a garlic press, I love using garlic press because there was a season where everybody was selling garlic presses. Maybe have a bunch of garlics just falling on top of a model, which is something, something that makes them like, what is this, man? You just want their attention. That's what you want. You're fighting for attention. And for the, Scott, let me know if I answered that question for the sponsor video. And for the product video, you want to finish converting them. It's like, imagine imagine that that's great, thanks. Yeah, okay. Imagine that you're a car salesman and the person already went through the whole lot and went through other dealerships, and now you just give them the test ride. Mm-hmm. And that's it. This is the last, like, this is it. Like, this is the make it or break it. This is like, you're about to close them. You just have to give them that little extra push, like, oh, come on, let's do it. Depending on your product, very important. The ticket price is very important. The price of the item is very, very important. The quality of the content equals to the quality of the product. The content is the listing. That's what you're selling when you sell. When you exit your business, you're selling your Amazon store, right? Because the supplier, you can change suppliers. I bet a lot of people have changed suppliers at least once. So what you're selling is that Amazon store. You're selling that ranking. You're selling the reviews. You're selling all these things. The cash flow and the amount of credit that the company has. So how you look is very, very important. Like you won't see me at with a tank top at 7 scale. I'll be like, what the hell is this? You know. So that's the idea. Just a presentation. I don't know if that answers your questions for for the product you use.
Cool. Yeah. Janet asks, how many main image optimization polls do you run on average for a client, and how do you know when it's enough?
Great question, Janet. So I would say, depending on the product, depending on the client, depending on the ticket price of the product. Some clients we just run one test with 5 images, depending on the replies that we get. Obviously, if the replies are like, I didn't really like any, I just had to vote. I'm like, okay, this is really bad. We really need to redo something. Because again, we're at least at my studio, we're very transparent. We send all this to our clients. We're like, hey, these are the results. You don't have to read them, but these are the results. We already digested them for you. We analyzed them. We put them like into breakdown, and it's like here it is, and this is what we consider, and this is what we think that you should be doing differently, or this is what we think the next steps should be. Because some clients just don't have the budget. Like we have to reshoot some images. That if it's a model involved, like that's more money. That's at least like 600, 700, $1,000 just to reshoot images. That's like, dependent on the product as well. And when is it enough? It's enough until we are satisfied with the data. If we have an image that is super like super out there, that's like getting a bunch, you got almost all of the votes, okay, that was it. But if we got out of 5 and 3 of those images have almost the exact same numbers, there's something wrong. That shouldn't be like that. We want something that's like boom, right? So what we do is we rerun the test only for those 3. It's like second in Latin America, we do when there's elections, we do something called second round, which is then a bunch of candidates, then the last 2, the top 2 go again against each other, something like that. Just like in politics, we do it in PickFu.
Awesome.
Jenna, please let me know if that answers your question. If not, I'll try to be more precise. I sometimes see this sometimes I use.
All right. Yeah. Scott asks, I sometimes see listings on Amazon that use full body models. Is that typically allowed or something you just have to try and see if Amazon lets you?
For the hero image, or for what exactly, Scott? If you're talking about the hero image, okay, so the only thing I would recommend you never do is buy reviews. That's like a big, I'm sorry. Everything's okay. It's raining here in Miami, so he's like scared. If you have okay, never buy reviews, but there's like gray areas in the field, like it's not totally legal, but it's like, So what we do is we tell our client, like, listen, this is a little bit on the edge. Here's a completely allowed terms of services compliant image, which just got less of the votes, but here it is. Here you go. This is the best image that, is really cool, but it's like, we recommend you have it. And if Amazon just flags your image, just switch it out. But it depends on the product. So we were doing a lot of pampas grass products, and everybody was using a full body model. Everybody. So if everybody's using them, like, come on, just like, just put it out there, see what happens. So again, you not everybody plays by the rules, so you sometimes have to get your hands a little bit dirty, unfortunately. It's just how the world works.
Great. All right. Katie says, how important is brand story or brand page? Should we also put the same amount of effort into that as the listings?
That's a great question, Katie. But by brand story, you mean
it's like the store page, yeah, like your official word.
She means the Amazon store, because there is something called brand story. So above the A+ content, which is called enhanced product description, there is something called brand story, which I highly recommend everybody. If you're not using this, use it. Like literally use it. This is so good, especially if you have more than one listing, or you're trying to build a brand. Because guys, it's very important to understand that the days of just flipping products from China on Amazon, they're over almost. Now it's all about brand. We were at Selling Scale, and Brandon was talking about creating brands and telling a story and getting conversions. And then Gary Vee came in and said the exact same thing. When people are selling their listings, they're creating brands. Now you got Paula's Choice, not Paula's Choice. It's a beauty brand. I forgot the name. They started off of Amazon in 2017, and now they're selling on Walgreens. So what big marketplaces are doing is that they're like, what's trending? What they did is that before they went to trade shows, they're like, oh, this is nice, let me sell in my store. But now everything's changing. It's crazy. Now they're going to like, what's trending? They go to Amazon because that's the most important marketplace. So you got now brands that started off of Amazon selling in these places. So you want to build a brand. Going back to your questions, I always go off the tangent. It depends on the amount of listings that you have, but if you should be building an actual brand, so you should really put the amount of effort into it. For the Amazon store, for example, I think you're talking about the store where you see all the listings, right? If you're talking about that, Katie, in your brand, imagine that it's okay, I'm just gonna put this out there. I don't know if you are or not, but imagine that you are selling baby products and you have 3 kids, and there wasn't a product in the market that sanitized baby bottles the way you wanted with whatever capacity come from NASA, whatever, right? But trigger that is your love for your child and the safety of your child. The bottles, the XV, XUV, whatever race, they matter, but not that much. What really matters is that care for that little human, which is the most precious thing you're ever gonna have in your life. So you have to transmit that emotion to the buyer. Maybe you have a video, a testimonial video that you're telling the story of your product. The brand, I would do videos like that there. And if you're an American seller and you're based in the US and you're an American company, LLC, use that. Apple, right? Everything that Apple says is like designed in California. Look at that. Designed by Apple in California, right here. So why do I care that's designed in California by Apple? Does that really matter? It does. It actually does. If Apple's doing it, why shouldn't you not do it? This is not made in the US. Obviously it's not, right? So where do you think it's made? China. But designed by Apple in the US. Designed by Apple in the US. Always remember that. Designed by Apple in the US. Designed by Katie in Wisconsin, Florida, wherever you want to be. Awesome. Or designed by, you can even go even deeper. Designed by a small business owner or a mompreneur, something like that. Go even deeper because understand your buyer. If your buyers are mom, relate to them. Make them connect with you. I hope that answers the question.
All right. I think this might be the last one. Do you also run optimization polls for A+ content images?
We do. We try to run as much as possible within our client's budget. Obviously, we have to take their budget into consideration. We have to be respectful of that. But if the client goes like, "Hey, this product is selling really good, but we're losing market share. What can we do about it?" I'll tell them the whole plan, and the plan includes that running A+ content, posts on A+ content, because you need to know what. I love that tagline. Know what sells before it sells. Like, obviously, it's not the exact same thing. Like, it's not like you're gonna put it up and it's got millions of sales, but it gives you such a good head start. It gives you insight of like 50, 100 people, 200 people. 200 people are looking at that and processing their information and coming back to you and be like, "Hey, I like this because it shows what's inside." And you're like, "Oh, so nobody cares that you're holding the product and you're plugging it to the wall. They're caring that it's actually white. Okay, instead of me saying that it's good for U.S. households, let's say it's like just white and pretty. Oh, it's connecting better with the consumer, right? Let's go with that." So that's the mindset you should be having. Katie said that both. Good. So good to hear. Accelerate. They said it was important, but didn't really elaborate on what test. Thank you for your answer. So for the brand story, this is okay. So not a lot of people, not every client, unless your listing is super cool, are going to go to your page, to your stored page, right? So this is another tool Amazon's given. I love when people ask me questions like this, because like, why do you think Amazon's is keep on giving more and more ways to sell better? Is it because they don't have anything to do and they're like just sitting in their offices and like, rocking their chairs? And like, what should we bother sellers with? Oh, let's just give them another tour. No, they're like running data and they have a bunch of money, a bunch of people who are way smarter than me. And they're like, let's give them this now, right? So the brand story is just another way to tell your brand story because they're trying to build brands on Amazon. They understand that. That's why it's called a brand story. Like if you see the 32,000 feet picture, they're trying to make Amazon brands be better than any other brands because at some point, mark my words, like Gary Vee says, the follow button on Amazon is gotta be the way like we see Instagram influencers now, which influencers are super important, right? The follow button on Amazon is gonna be that thing that's like, I'm gonna get this brand because it has 100,000 subscribers. You don't see those numbers right now. At some point, you will. You'll see.
Yeah.
That's you got Amazon posts and you got all these things. So, Katie, if you have a good story, make it happen. If you don't have it, get a script writer and get it done. You can get it done. Like, believe me, like not everybody's telling the truth. So you can make it happen. Just make it happen.
Awesome. I think that's all the questions we got. If you have any others, feel free to reach out to Rafael directly. You could visit Shared Studio. You could email them at hello@sharedstudio. Definitely check out their Q4 giveaway. It's a lot of value.
Which is sponsored by PickFu. When we got to sell scale, you're like, oh my
We're
god,
everywhere.
I know. Oh man.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Rafael, for your great presentation.
No worries. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. Bye, Mary. Bye, Katie. Bye, everybody. Ciao.
Bye.
Okay, what do I do here? Close? Do I just close?